screen actors. This video is about the 3 camera shots that you must know, understand, and master if you want all of your performances to really stand out. Learn this and apply it, and you will show up on camera with great confidence, ease, simplicity in your work, and magnetic power. I'm Louis DiBianco, and this is my channel, Screen Acting Success. This is where you come every Friday for more tips, techniques, and secrets to help you become a compelling, working screen actor in demand. If this is your first time here, click subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Stick around to the end because I'm going to be giving away free training that you are not going to want to miss. Camera shots. Before we dive in, burn this thought into your memory because it's the theme for this entire video. Whenever you're performing on camera, that's film or TV, you are working in a director's medium, an editor's medium, and a cinematographer's medium. That's important because they use specific cinematic storytelling tools to tell the stories that they tell, and that you are one small element in their storytelling arsenal. One of the most important and basic tools is the shot. And the 3 shots that we're going to look at in this video are the very foundation of all cinematic storytelling. There are other shots that are refinements on these, but we're not going to get into those. If you understand these 3 basic ones and how to work in them, you're going to take your work to a whole other level. The 3 shots are wide shot, medium shot, and close-up. Let's look at some storyboard images to understand all of them. The first one is your wide shot. Let's look at it to understand its purpose. We see a character in an environment. Someplace outdoors, let's call it a park. He's there with his dog, there's a bird flying around, so it must be outdoors. The purpose of the wide shot is to introduce characters in an environment, and the shot gives importance equally to both. The second shot is the medium shot, which from a character's point of view is shot from the waist on up. And you'll notice in this shot that there's still some environment. We see a little bit of the dog, and we see the bird, but there's more of an emphasis on the character. He's performing an action. He's reading his newspaper. And then we go to the close-up. The environment is not there really, except for the bird. That's a smart bird. It must be an intuitive actor who always knows how to show up in every frame. And in that shot, the emphasis is completely on the character. So how does all of this influence your choices as an actor? When you're in a medium shot, understand that, first of all, any emotion that you have in the scene, any refinements of emotion, you're not really going to get to communicate on camera because the camera's not going to read that. Because the camera picks up the details of your emotion through your eyes and your face, and that's not what the camera is seeing. Also know that in this shot, you have the maximum freedom of movement to an extent. By that I mean that you got to be aware of the movements you make, because if they're too wild, chaotic, random, and you can't even duplicate them later, you might create a problem for the editor when it comes to matching the shots, the wide with the medium and the close-ups, and then your performance might end up on the editing room floor. So in that shot, you are there to establish who you are in an environment. Now we go to the medium shot. In the medium shot, you get to express, to act with body language and gesture, and also with your face, letting emotions come into your eyes, and the camera will read those. And then when we go to the close-up, that is your That is your most important shot. That's the one that's going to determine if your performance lives or dies, if it's memorable or totally forgettable. And there, you're acting with your face, your eyes, and very importantly, with your inner world. That's where you get to connect your inner life to your outer life. And the way this works is that you will learn in your discipline to have an outer stillness in most scenes with a very active and turbulent inner life, even volcanic emotion. The contrast between the two, the stillness outside, the turbulence inside, creates a dramatic tension that the camera loves. I began to really appreciate this when I was looking at the work of William Hurt. He's a master on camera. I forgot the film he was in, but the scene was extremely emotional, and I was feeling every single emotion that he was. I also noticed that his lips seemed to hardly be moving. I said, wow, he's connecting all of his emotions to this mask and communicating that through his eyes. That is pure film technique. Now I'm going to bring up a fourth shot. It is the medium close-up. It's important because that's the shot that you're going to use for almost all of your self-tape auditions and even when you audition live. And also, the medium close-up narrows the medium shot's frame. Why is that important? Because remember this rule, if it's not in the frame, we can't see it, it's not in the story. So let's say that in the medium close-up, the character in our story is seeing a person approach him in the park. And that person looks pretty aggressive and intimidating, and he notices that the guy is carrying a weapon. Well, our character happens to be a detective, and he has a gun, so he pulls it out, he points it as a warning toward this approaching character. See, I'm doing it now, but I'm doing it out of the frame. Actors sometimes do that. They think, wow, see, I'm doing this action, but it's not being seen. It's a wasted shot. The editor can't use it. It's not going to end up in the movie. Why is this important? Because it's going to require that you get used to doing things often, actions that feel unnatural. For instance, holding a gun this high. You wouldn't normally hold in real life a gun that close to your face and your body. So it may feel unnatural when you do it on camera, but know that it's going to read very, very beautifully. It's going to look totally real on camera. You want to discipline yourself to do these things without thinking, so you're not self-conscious about them. You just instinctively make the adjustment, and all of your work will be usable by the editor. The director's going to be happy, the cinematographer is going to be happy, and you will be happy because you're going to start to get more work. Quick summary. Wide shot establishes the character in an environment. Medium shot starts to take the focus a bit away from the environment and places it more on the character. Close up, completely on the character. Now we're going to take this lesson to a whole other level, and you're really going to get to appreciate just how technical a very real and moving performance can actually be on camera. We're going to use examples from James Cameron's brilliant movie Terminator 2 starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is a cinematic masterpiece. Whether you know that or not, know it, because it is. Study it, and you'll really get to appreciate just what a master of camera technique Arnold Schwarzenegger is. By the way, right now, you can see Mr. James Cameron give a complete course on filmmaking, and he illustrates in detail stuff from the Terminator at Masterclass. Go to masterclass.com. So let's look at this first shot. This shot, we see the Terminator, and his arm is on a table, and he obviously has a pretty bad wound on his arm. In the next shot, he's taking a knife and he's cutting into his own arm, making some kind of, I said he's going to do some kind of makeshift primitive surgery on himself. And then that third shot, we see that inside the arm there are these movable metal rods. That whole sequence of 3 shots is aimed at the third shot. The first 2 are setting up the reveal that we are not just looking at a person, we're looking at a machine, a cyborg. That is great storytelling. Now let's look at the storyboards that went into creating this. And you're really going to get to appreciate just how technical the entire sequence is. This must have taken a long time to shoot this small scene. In this first shot, which is a medium close-up of Arnold, the Terminator, he's entered the room through a window, and he looks very intimidating, and part of that is because of the camera angle. It's not just the shot, but the angle. Why is that important to know? Because when you are aware of what the camera angles are that they're using for you, you'll know how much or how little you have to do. Inexperienced actors think it's all about them. And if the character they're playing is supposed to be intimidating, they're going to work overtime to show us that they're intimidating, and they usually look pretty silly. But if they know that the camera angle is going to say character is intimidating, they can do less. They can relax, just show up, be in the shot, and cleanly fulfill each of their actions. That is the difference between a professional and an amateur. In this next storyboard image, we see Arnold putting the knife into his arm. Now, let's take a look at this image that is going to reveal a lot about how the shot was actually done. Notice that there are 2 other people in this storyboard. Obviously, the other 2 are off camera. The hand behind Arnold is a technician who is operating the mechanism of the cyborg, the mechanical rods that move back and forth. That arm that Arnold treats in the movie as his own is a fake arm. It's an animatronic arm. It's lying on the table. And Arnold is adjusting his body in relation to it so it looks like it's part of him. But when we want to see the rods move back and forth, the technician operates a switch, it's electronic, and the rods move back and forth. Also, the puppeteer has his hand inside of the fake hand, because we're going to see Arnold curl his fingers toward his face and away from it. And that is actually the puppeteer moving the fingers. So think about the coordination there and how unnatural that is. The actor has to be focused on his real action. He has a wounded arm, he's done an incision, and he's moving his fingers. He commits his energy totally to that. But he has to coordinate his work with a puppeteer and with the technician who is operating the rods inside the fake arm. That is pure cinematic magic, and it is purely technical and unnatural. The end result is completely real, a powerful illusion. We buy into it, and we're in the fantasy of the story. That is powerful stuff. Now, let's take a look at this little shot, which is the hand picking up the knife. And what it's supposed to be, imagine, Arnold, his wounded arm, his free arm, goes over and picks up the blade, comes back, and he starts to cut into his arm. It looks like that for sure. However, that shot of the hand picking up the knife, James Cameron put that in as an insert after the movie wrapped. He shot that in his own apartment. He did it, he said, for about 20 bucks. Now, I said it was an editor's medium as well. You need a great editor to be able to take that separate shot, cut it into the sequence so that when we see it on screen, we don't notice that it's a separate shot. It's fluid. We notice it's a separate shot, but we don't notice that it's an insert that was put in later. It all flows so that we buy that cyborg sitting there with uninterrupted action, looking at his arm, picking up this knife, and then operating on himself. That's what you can get to do with ease and confidence when you understand shots and frames and how they contribute to the cinematic storytelling. Let's do a quick summary. Very, very simple. 3 shots. Wide shot, which establishes a who and a where. And they both have equal importance on camera. Medium shot starts to transfer the focus from the where more to the who, the character, and the close-up removes the where, and the focus is completely on the who, that happens to be you and your brilliant performance. If you've gotten value from this, leave a comment below. Share your takeaways with other people, inspire them, and the video will also get more visibility. I promise to give you some free training. On the screen you now see an image of the ebook that I wrote, a 21-page detailed guide on how to do great self-tapes at home, and it'll give you everything from acting tips to how to light yourself properly, how to achieve the best sound. I give you a diagram of my studio setup that I use when I do self-tapes for me and for my fellow actors. And also, I'm going to give you a list of the best gear that you can get to do the most professional self-tapes. Find the link below, download the book, and get to work on improving your self-tapes. You'll also find a link below to my latest online course, Self-Taping Mastery. That's where I take a deeper dive into self-taping, and you get to see me in every module on screen, holding you by the hand, taking you step by step. Plus, you'll have the opportunity to reach out to me when you have questions, and I will send an answer back to you. Plus, you're going to discover that I'm offering great bonuses with this course. One of them is a separate course online on live auditions, and you get that absolutely free if you choose to get self-taping mastery. So go to the link, check it out. If it's for you, I'll have the pleasure to get to know you better and be your guide toward greater success as an on-screen actor. If it isn't, definitely get the ebook and start creating fantastic, brilliant self-tapes. I always end with this reminder about screen acting. The dialogue, the words you speak, are not as important as the inner life beneath the words and in between the words. So whenever you have a script in your hand, especially in an audition, always feel it first, then say it, then mean it, and you'll book it. Go out, create a stellar on-camera career for yourself. Let me know about it, and I will be able to share it and celebrate it with you.